So I'm going to use the spurned husband thing as the opener.
Yes.
Hey guys, coming up on today's episode, you've met Fallon talking about my gay husband. Well, today you're going to meet Laura, and we're going to talk about being spurned by my gay husband. Did I say spurned, right? Okay, because Fallon's got me all thinking. Fallon's like, what is spurned? I'm like, what? She's like, knows everything in the world, but she didn't know what spurned was. She's like, I've never heard of it. So
Because she's never been spurned. That's
she's
why.
never been spurned.
That's why. You learn lessons in life the hard way sometimes. Sometimes it's vocabulary. I don't know.
Laura is a former, how do I say this? I was your former gay husband.
Yes.
A long time ago.
Yes.
So if you watch the episode, My Gay Husband with Fallon, you will see that I am currently Fallon's gay husband, but Laura is the OG. She's the original. So anyways, I'm out here today. We're in beautiful Leamington, Ontario, and we are out here today to talk to Laura, give you a little bit of background about how we met, and also we want to talk about some self-esteem stuff as well too. So Laura, we met, we were trying to figure out the year. We think we said 2003, I think. 2003. Okay, so the background is there was an audition call for a production of Tony and Tina's Wedding here in Leamington. I came out and auditioned for the show. I think I met you at the audition. You were there.
You didn't talk to me though.
I didn't talk to you, no. I didn't care. But I do remember you being there, and it must have been the audition, because I remember this very pretty girl who's sitting there kind of like this, shoulders rolled, and she's got her little script and she's reading through it. And they brought us up, because we had to do the background character stuff with each other.
Yep.
So we had to pretend that as Joey, the gay husband of Tina, Joey, the gay brother of Tina, the bride. I had to play that character in a scenario, and then you were playing Marina.
Yes.
Who was
the awkward friend, which was not really a stretch. Right?
And we laugh about that, because it wasn't really a stretch for you. It was just Laura playing herself as Marina, so it was perfect. So Laura, I guess going back then, so we figure, you were 25?
Yeah, I think so.
About 25 years of age?
Yeah.
Okay. And
don't do the math.
Don't do the math. Yeah, exactly. So how did you feel back then as, 25, I guess even coming to an audition? Had you been in much before, something like that?
I'm trying to think. No, I did stuff when I was younger.
Okay.
Like younger than 25. That was the first thing I had geared myself up to go do, and I thought, okay, I'll go do it. We'll see what happens. Because I'm not as much anymore shy, but I was painfully shy.
You were painfully shy. No, I know that. You were painfully
awkward
shy.
And all those things. So I thought, let's go and do it, because then you're pretending like you're somebody else. Yeah. Even though obviously it wasn't somebody else. But then you kind of like feel like you're behind this facade and whatnot. But then you have someone who beats the facade out of you. Right.
So what was your self-esteem? Did you have high self-esteem back then?
No.
Well, no, not at all.
No.
Not confident.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm still not I'm better than I was, but back then, no. I'm my own worst critic. I'm funny, I think, but a lot of my humor is self-deprecating, which because you jump on the bandwagon. I do. Sometimes. I
join in. So what do you remember about me back then? In terms of...
I don't know. I remember I was like, I gotta go talk to him, and I don't know why, but I was like, I think I thought you were funny and stuff, and maybe you're the most person who was like not on my level, but that I could relate with the best.
Okay.
Because I still am like that. I'm like very shy because I think like I'm not on the level with people and I get intimidated and whatever. Why you didn't intimidate me, I don't know. Because I should have figured that out.
I think some of it might have been because as a gay male, I sometimes feel a little bit awkward and a little bit uncomfortable in those situations, especially because I don't know how people are going to react if they find out I'm gay, right? So I tend to be a little bit more reserved and stuff until I get to know people. And I just felt, there was obviously, you were kind of someone else in the room who was kind of feeling the same way that I was. And it seemed like the other people that were there had a history of already knowing each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it makes it hard to break into that kind of setting. Totally. So I guess I gravitate more to the person that's maybe sitting by themselves because obviously they are shy or reserve themselves and they're looking for someone to talk to, right? So it's a great icebreaker. And this goes back to some of the videos I talk about in previous episodes of how to approach people, social tips, those kind of things, especially in a case of you where someone who's really shy and may not reach out to other people until someone comes to you, right?
I think I went over and sat by you though. I think we were upstairs at the Rhine and we were doing something and I was just like, forget it. And I went over and I sat by you and all of a sudden you started making fun of other people and I was like, ha 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 ha.
Back in my days.
And then back in your days. Yeah, okay, not much has changed. And then it was just like instant friends, I feel.
Right. Yeah,
I feel like that.
It was.
You're mean.
And our friendship, and then we hung out a lot. And then, of course, I introduced you to my friend Curtis, and your whole world changed.
Yes.
So Curtis is my friend from Windsor. He is now living in Toronto, but we were very tight. So it used to be that if there was one of us around, the other one wasn't too far away. So I introduced Laura to Curtis, and lots of hilarity ensued there. So Curtis at the time was kind of like he was kind of like an angry gay man. So he was living in a town that was really blue collar, not really accepting of gay people at that time. And I think that he was dealing with a lot of issues with that as well, but he was also a lot of fun. But he did love to tease you incessantly.
Oh, there's a lot of emotional bruises still there. No, I'm kidding. I love Curtis. I love him. That's a tough love person, if ever there was one, is Curtis.
Right. And then
Laura, don't wear that.
Yeah, that's right.
What are you doing?
Laura, don't fall down and embarrass me.
Yeah, I can't help that. I can't help that. Laura, why did you fall down and have to go change your ripped pants? You made us late.
That's right. Yeah, I remember that day. So, was I the first gay person you knew?
No.
You knew others?
Yeah, I went to high school. Well, grade school and high school with somebody else who was.
Did you hang out with them?
Yep.
Okay.
And he came out to us and we're like, yeah.
Okay. That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
We know that.
I figured that. I mean, I figured you had a very kind soul anyways and was very tolerant of things anyway, especially if you could be my friend. So obviously you had to be very tolerant.
Yes.
So we're hanging out, we're getting to know each other better, we're hanging out with Curtis, we take a infamous trip to Newfoundland. So I thought it'd be a great idea that Laura and Curtis should come out to Newfoundland with us. So at that time I think you were just talking to Tim, right, who is now your husband?
Yes, I think we were dating.
Okay, it was like early on.
Yeah.
And I remember that my parents' house out around the bay wasn't out in the city of St. John's, but out around the bay. They had terrible cell reception. I don't know. This is the early stages of cell phones. So I remember that you had to make calls to Tim on the way out on the highway to a certain point, and then the cell service just cut. And wherever you were in the conversation, that was the end.
Yep.
And then you had Curtis. He would get back to the house, and we were all kind of staying up in this big open attic area, and Curtis was only able to get the reception in one part of the room, and it was like in the corner, so he would be like awkwardly in the corner talking on this cell phone, trying to talk to his boyfriend at the time, and it was so funny. Oh my God, you had to be there. Thank God cell reception is not like that anymore. Yeah, we had a lot of things that we did on the trip. We exposed you to a lot of new foods, some Jigs dinner, some blueberry duff, fries, dressing, and gravy, all those wonderful things. I think you were sick the whole trip.
Oh, I did. My stomach was not happy. I love Newfoundland, but no. I would be like a waif. I'd be emaciated waif if I lived there because I couldn't handle the food, except for like the pineapple crush.
Yeah,
that was the only
pineapple
thing.
crush. Yeah, that was the thing. We would stop and get pineapple crush.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a fun trip, and then we come back to Windsor, and then what happened? So did Curtis? I feel like Curtis might have moved. Did he move away while we were?
I think so.
Yeah, because I don't think he was at your wedding. I think he moved away.
He wasn't because he'd moved.
He had moved to Toronto.
I think Curtis is going to have a whole rebuttal video afterwards.
Probably a rebuttal video.
Those bitches were lying about me this entire time.
Exactly. There'll be a big blurb in the comments section.
Oh, I can't wait.
From Curtis. So I just feel like, so a lot of stuff at the time. I mean, people say that I'm mean and stuff like that, but I say, like I've said to Fallon in my videos, I like to tease people. I kind of get to know people really well, and I focus more on some of their traits that stand out a little bit, but not more to be cruel to them, but just try to expose some of that so that they become more comfortable with themselves. That's what I feel anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people when I'm teasing them. It's for their benefit. So just going back a little bit, just because I wanted to talk a little bit more. So self-esteem is very low at that point. I feel like it improved a lot though when you were hanging out with Curtis and I, even though there was a lot of teasing.
Yeah, but it's different. It was never the stuff that I felt bad about myself for. That you guys never made fun of that stuff. Like if I was like, I have a bad body image and all that stuff.
Right.
And you guys would never ever say anything like that.
Yeah.
If I would say something, you'd be like, no, blah, 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 blah. But then it would be like, but you can't even walk down the street because you are so clumsy, you're gonna fall on your face. And I'd be like, yeah, oh, shut up. So it gave that part of me, while you're boosting me where I do feel bad, where I feel okay about myself, you get it like this. So it's like I'm going up this entire time. I don't know if that makes sense, but
I feel
think
like
it worked.
We boosted you in the areas that we felt that you were not comfortable with yourself, and we made you feel good about that.
Yes.
But some of the areas where you were very confident, we brought it down just a little bit so that it all kind of matched on the scale, right?
Yes.
So then we're here as opposed to here. So, and of course we're younger then, and we just want to make life fun, and we want you to have a good time. And I remember the night. I have to tell this story, but I do remember the night you and I were hanging in my house, and we were supposed to go dancing, and you didn't want to go. And so I was like, she's like, who gets to tell Curtis? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell Curtis.
Because you didn't want to go either.
I didn't want to go dancing.
Don't put me on this, Curtis. It wasn't just me.
And then Curtis came up over the stairs into my room, and Curtis is like, so when are we going? And we're like, well, actually, we don't want to go. And Curtis got so upset that we were not going dancing at the bar. So, but we survived.
Yeah.
We survived Curtis, so that was very good. Because in a lot of ways, too, Curtis, even though we would tease each other a lot, Curtis was very smart, very clever. He was very good for everybody's self-esteem too, because if you could survive an evening of hanging out with him and him chattering at you all night, then you felt pretty good at the next day or whatever. So just in our own way, we were able to help each other feel better about ourselves. So you're married now, you have 2 children. What are some of the things that you've worked on yourself? Is there 1 or 2 things that you've tried to work on? And if so, what have you done to try to improve that? Like, has marriage helped that? She's like, no. Marriage does not help improve your self-esteem.
Sure it does. Yes, it does. It does in a way, because you're like, okay, we're unequal. So you don't, I don't want Tim to watch this and be like, you shit talking me.
No. then you can. No, I think you have to be, what is marriage do? Yeah.
You want to be like an equal partner, right? And that's what I bring to the table, what he brings to the table are two different things, but it makes it good.
Okay.
Right? And I look at myself and I look at myself younger and I think, okay, I don't want my kids to be like that.
Right, okay.
So I find those things and like where I was shy and I didn't want to call for pizza. I still don't like calling for pizza. I order it online. I make my kids go do it. So if we go to Tim Hortons, this is before quarantine, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, yeah.
I want another whatever, Mom, because we've gone and got coffee and a donut. Mom, I want another donut. I'm like, okay, here's some money. You go get it yourself.
Right.
Where when I was 10, 12 years old, they're like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to go get it. They're like, okay, and they go bound up and get it.
Because you were so shy.
Yes, and it was terrible. And my mom would be like, I didn't try and make you be like that. And I'm like, I know, but my mom is not a shy person.
Right. Oh no, I know Hilda's not shy. Yeah.
My mom has a big personality, and my mom is wonderful. But then you kind of like pull back.
But I feel like your dad's a little bit more reserved.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. So I feel like if between you and your brother Cam kind of is more like your mom's personality, and then you have more like your dad's.
Yeah, I would say so.
Right, because your dad's very quiet.
Yes, I've gotten to be more like my mom as I got older. Maybe it's like when you age. I think when you age, you learn stuff, right? And you go through different things and you're like, okay. Like when Max was a baby, he used to have seizures and he would pass out and it was terrible. Okay. But you go through all that stuff and you see everybody else falling apart and you're like, okay, I have to pull it together for something. So I pulled it together. I'm like, okay, I'm stronger than I thought I was. I always thought I was a wimp, that I couldn't do all that stuff, but I can. I can do all these things. You have to sometimes do hard things to realize that you can't do hard things.
Right, and I think sometimes when you're put to the test, right, then you can find out what you really can do.
Yes.
Right, and I think that's what Curtis and I were doing with you. We were testing you all the time.
That is correct.
There we go. I think if we find out what we were really doing, Curtis, we were testing her.
Yes.
So through that, and I mean, looking at you now, I still remember the Laura that I met, like, back when you were 25, so it's like we won't do the math. But there's still some of those traits there. But I feel like, too, as we've gotten older, so my thing as I've gotten older is I don't really care what people think about me anymore. I mean, obviously in a good way. I'm not going to be, trashing people or whatever, but I do the things that I want to do, and I do the things that make me happy, because we are really on this earth one time, and I don't want to live my life just fearful of things or looking back and saying, I regret this, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that. So that's one thing, and I think that just comes through life experience, comes through whether you get married and have children, it comes through experience, right? And with maturity. So as you get older, I don't care anymore. Do you care about stuff as much, or stuff still bother you?
Not as much. Some stuff still bothers me. Some stuff is internal, right? So that internal stuff, I work on that. I still have problems with that, but I don't let people push me around. Okay. Where before I used to be like, right. And now I'm like, oh.
That's right. That's from working at the library.
You have no idea. It's here too, though. But like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday, we had an argument over something. I'm like, no, you're not going to talk to me like that.
Right. So, and whereas in the past, you would kind of get steamrolled over a little bit, right?
Yeah, and then I go cry somewhere or be like, I hate someone.
Right.
And now I'm like, no, I'll say, I hate you.
Right.
No, I don't say that.
So, so I guess in terms of, improving self-esteem, feeling better about yourself, feeling more confident, those are always things that I think even we work on. Like, I get a lot of feedback from people that watch my videos and reach out and tell me that I'm very confident and all that kind of stuff. But every day, it is still a bit of work. You have to work at it every day, because if you don't, you need the humility or you will become a narcissist, right? Yeah. So, I'm still, every day, I'm working on things. Self-esteem, positivity, confidence, they take some work. Some days it's very natural, and other days I really have to just kind of pump myself up, and I think that even in your case it's...
Oh yeah, huge. Some days you get up and you're like, man, I feel good, I look great today, I'm this, I'm that, and then the next day you're like, ugh, what, I just need to go back to bed, because I'm all the things that yesterday I thought I was, I'm not today.
Right, and I mean, and that's okay. right?
Yeah.
We're all going to struggle with that stuff. And, you know, so there's an example, like someone in my case who's 95% of the time very confident in that. And then someone in your case who's still working on stuff. So getting better, but that might be a lifelong thing for you.
Yep.
Right? And that's just the way things go. So, you know, guys, don't fret or stress about it. You'll get there, but every day is a little bit of a challenge, and every day you have to work on yourself a little bit more. Who is Laura today? If you had to give yourself a few sentences, who is Laura today?
Laura's a little bit the same as she was before, with a little bit of Curtis peppered in, with a little bit of Sean peppered in. I speak my mind more. I'm not afraid to speak my mind more. And I'm still not great at saying no, but I'm a heck of a lot better than I used to be saying no. I swear a lot more. And I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe that's it. And I'm mom, but
yeah, right. And you have to be a role model for your children too.
Oh,
right?
I do?
And work, you have to work on some of the things that you had a problem with to instill the stuff in them so that they don't suffer.
I hide that stuff. So I don't criticize myself, like my body image stuff. I don't do that. My 10-year-old kid, she's got a strut. She struts like you.
And that's something else too that I wanted to talk about since you brought it up. I'm going to mispronounce this, but when you what's the word? When you
deprecate?
When you self-deprecate yourself, it's a way of creating, and so there's a positive and a negative to that, right? So when you do that, a lot of times people are feeling very low about themselves, so they do that to create humor, but at the same time they're not really helping themselves feel better, right? In my case, and I don't know if you do some more of that now but in my case, especially when I'm in a new environment or with new people, I'll sometimes do that only to bring on humor, because it's a way to break the ice, right? So it's just depending. So there's a couple ways you can do it. Do you feel like you do that now for the humor, break the ice, or are you still wrestling with things yourself?
I think it's maybe more for humor. I don't think I do it as much as I used to. I don't, because I'm like, I know I'm not stupid, and I know I'm not this, and so I'm not going to go in and be like that I'm dumb. Okay.
And that's good, because so there's something that you've worked on, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think so.
We just want to be careful when we get into self-deprecating, right?
Right, yeah, I wouldn't go and be like, oh, hey, I feel ugly and flat-chested today. How about you? You know, like, people be like, what the hell's the matter with you?
Her. Yeah, with her. Exactly. They're like, we know what's wrong with her.
Yeah, exactly. That makes people uncomfortable, too. Like, self-deprecation is not good for you, but it also can make other people uncomfortable.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So it's being careful of that, too. And again, that goes back to also knowing your audience.
Yes.
Right? If you don't, I do it a lot more with people that I semi-know, or there might be people that are there who know me, so that it's not, I don't just walk up to some random stranger and do that, right? But so it's worked sometimes in effect of breaking the ice a little bit, right? And then back then we used to compare you to like Kelly Clarkson, right? When she came out, she was big at the time.
I told you I didn't want to talk about Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson. And then we talked about that, the song, what was it? You mentioned the song and then we corrected it.
No, you mentioned it and I said, no, that is not the right one. It was because of you. You guys said that's what I emulate with you guys. I'm like, no, it's since you've been gone.
That's right. You can breathe for the first time.
Exactly.
You're like, see you, Curtis, see you, Sean. It's perfect.
Exactly.
I can breathe for the first time.
Yes, exactly.
So is there any, if you could give a tip or two for your own personal experience that people can use to help improve their self-esteem, what's something that you've done yourself personally?
Realizing that you don't need someone to make you happy or make you whole. Because I was single while we were all hanging out, right? And that was where my self-deprecation was most of the time. It was like me being single and blah, blah. You don't need that. You make yourself happy and you make yourself fulfilled. That you don't need anybody else for that. And generally, if you're trying to find someone for that, they are the wrong person to do that stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Very good point.
So
very good.
That is one thing, because I am who I am because of me, not because of Tim. Right. So that's That's one thing. Another thing is like, do things that make you feel good about yourself. Like, if you feel good after you work out, and I hate saying that because people, like, everybody says, oh, go work out. But seriously, at the beginning of quarantine, I was like, eat some chips, eat some bread. And then I was like, okay, no, this has got to stop because I got to put shorts on. So start working out. And then I feel really good about myself. I hate doing it, but then I'm like, I feel good about myself or whatever. Find something that makes you feel good about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like even just, find a hobby or find some kind of volunteering that you can do. Obviously, you know, when things get back to normal, but yeah, finding something that you enjoy doing is very good for your self-esteem, right? Makes you feel a lot better. So some other things that you can do to help with self-esteem is, number one, stop listening to your inner critic.
Or your outer one.
Or your outer one. Thank you. Yeah, so your inner critic, your saboteur, your inner saboteur is always going to try to break you down and not make you feel good about yourself, and you really have to work on not listening to that and bring the points forward that people really like about you and things that make you feel good. So yeah, shut down the inner critic. Don't listen to it. You know who you are. They're just creeping in your mind to make you not feel like a great person and to keep your self-esteem low. So another thing that you can do too is in the evenings, write down 3 things that you appreciate about yourself. So what would be, say, 3 things that you could write down in an evening that you appreciate? She's a loss for words here.
I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn people like me.
And that's perfect.
That's from Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. I don't watch it as much as you did, but
that's from a long time ago when you were still older than me and probably could stay up later than I could.
Yeah, maybe. I never watched it. But there's an example. Yeah, 3 things that you can write down in the evening that you appreciate about yourself. And it also reminds you of the type of person that you are.
And then you can refer to the list when people are teasing you.
Right, and teasing you incessantly.
Be like, look see? Wrote this shit down.
That's right. So another way that you can help improve self-esteem is go for good enough. And what I mean by that is you don't have to go for perfection, right? Like this one here, everything had to be perfect. In my life, it's, am I happy? Am I content with what I've accomplished? And that's really all that matters. So good enough is okay.
Good enough is great.
It's great.
Good enough is great.
Thank you, because I feel like sometimes people try to achieve perfection, and when they don't get it, they feel low about themselves.
Perfection is totally overrated.
I agree. So another thing that you can do to help improve your self-esteem is be your own best friend.
Because we don't want you. Because
we don't want you. And in Laura's case, she was her own best friend at one time until I came along.
I still was. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding.
So guys, there are some points that you can use to help you feel just a little bit better about yourself. And remember, it's always going to take a little bit of work. We may come off confident, but we are always kind of working behind the scenes just to keep it at that level. So continue to strive, continue to feel better. Laura's going to work on things for herself. So Laura, just like in closing, so yes, to go back to the very beginning, Laura and I was like her original gay husband before she met Tim. So
now, not my gay husband.
Who's not her
actual gay husband. He's my actual husband, not my actual gay husband. Actual husband, yeah.
And just through things, I mean, you got married, you had children, I got super busy with stuff, and it was hard for us to kind of get together and hang out. But you know, here we are all these years later, we're still able to communicate thanks to social media and those kind of things. And then we're back here doing this video because Laura thought it would be a great thing to tie in with the My Gay Husband with Fallon, and you being the spurned by your gay husband.
It brought a lot of feelings to the top. When I watched it, I'm like, that used to be me.
That's right.
Fallon, just watch out. That used to be me. And then as soon as you make a change in your life, poof, they kick you to the curb. They stop answering your phone calls, all the things. And then they just call you when it's their 40th birthday and say, come to my birthday party. Go park in the parking garage across the street. Nobody's going to walk you there, 38-year-old lady. You got to walk yourself over. And then when you come in, and then they just come back right to where they began. Laura, what are you doing?
So Fallon, I guess the whole point of this video was to let you know what is going to happen to you in the future.
What's your future, Fallon? Sorry.
So guys, I want you to leave a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you thought about today's video. Today we're just having a little bit of fun. We were reconnecting. We're talking about self-esteem. Mine's pretty good. Laura's still working on hers. Drop some comments in there, suggestions, anything that you use to help improve your self-esteem. I love to read your comments. I love to answer them. Guys, also remember, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please click the subscribe button. Also, please give me a thumbs up because it lets YouTube know that you're enjoying my content. If you are not following me on Instagram and Facebook, you can do so at Sean's Magical Odyssey. And guys, on behalf of myself and Laura, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
They could say who's prettier in the comments.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yeah. And then the page.
So then Fallon can know what she's in for in life.
That's right. She thinks it's all good right now.
Exactly. And then there'll be a day.
Okay, we're recording, right? I'm seeing your neighbor. I'm waiting until your neighbor walks by.
Why you don't want to look foolish when my neighbors are walking
Yeah, and that's yeah, exactly.
What are those two idiots doing out on the step? That's all right. You'll see me Instagram up here, and I'm talking to myself.
They're like, that's that crazy lady. She's crazy.
I'll be out in my pajamas taking a picture of my house to put on. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm such a dork.
I love it. Okay.